which they're called Mexicans and Hispanics and stuff right now, they shipped them to Europe. You know, back and forth to Europe, while they came to the western parts of Africa and shipped the so-called Negroes to America. That's what happened. That's the transatlantic slave trade. So all of these people, so all of these people went into slavery by ships. Now,
that's also why they don't want anybody going through the Bermuda Triangle, because
that's why we read Exodus in the 20th chapter, because Egypt is talking about bondage. There's no record of the Israelites going back into bondage into the original land of Egypt by any ships. They walked out. They could have walked back. And there's no historical record of them going back into bondage by ship. But there is a historical record, because this was a prophecy at the time. There is a historical record of people going into slavery by ships. And what people was those? The transatlantic slave trade is the only record of anybody going into slavery by ships.
That's right.
Go ahead, read and finish that off.
By the way, thereby spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you.
No man was going to save us out of that bondage. We were sold for bondmen and bondwomen. We came from Africa and so on and so forth. We were sold for guns and wine. Women were sold for wine, men were sold for guns. That's what we were sold for. And the Africans and the Israelites are not the same people. The Africans are one nation, and of course we knew that back then, and the Israelites are another. Now read what you got in Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
10.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Back up. We don't do that. We don't do that. Back up. We're men here, man.
Hang on, man.
Right. You don't touch another man like that. Right. We don't know each other. We trying to teach you something. You don't touch another man. So back up. That's good. Stay back there. You can say you agree with him, but don't touch him. Okay? You know. Right. You don't hug a man like that. Right. Brother, look. When you approaching a man, don't you give a man space that you don't know?
I mean, you don't just come up in somebody's face and shit like that, because that's a challenging type of posture right there. You don't do shit like that.
Right. You give your man, you give another man space. Exactly. It's just like we respect he look, this man right here been respectful, keeping his distance and giving us space. You don't approach another man you don't know like that. Be a man. We ain't dealing with no.
Wrong,
no, we're not wrong. Go ahead, read that.
I'm not being a fan. I'm embrace you. I'm not being a fan.
No, you don't embrace a man that you don't know in that manner.
Bro, I'm gonna just let me ask you a question, man. Are you a homosexual? No. Are you sure?
Your spirit.
I don't know about that.
You're the guy. You a homosexual spirit?
Right. That's what it seems like. You gotta.
Be proud of what you are. Be proud of what you are. If you are an abomination, you're proud.
Teaching. I'm not interested in the controversy.
Right. Well,
Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lie with mankind, he lies with woman as he lies with woman. Both of them have committed an abomination.
Now, I'm gonna get this scripture. I mean, we done talked about this scripture earlier, man.
Right.
This is Ecclesiasticus 19 and 30. A man's attire and excessive laughter and gait show what he is.
Right, his gait, his attitude, his mannerism.
What is that?
Right, his
mannerism
show what he is. Like your mannerisms show that you're a man trying to learn something. His mannerisms show that he's a fag or a punk or whatever you want to call it. You don't hug a man that you don't know like that. You know, you get to know a man. Then what? One of Esau's biggest customs is, okay, I agree with you guys, and they try to shake your hand. We do the pound, but they try to shake your hand. You know, if you know a man, you're gonna try. All right, I agree with you guys, but I'm out. A brother is usually like, all right, I agree with you guys, bye-bye. Wave him off, you give him the pound, and you shake his hand. This dude is trying to hug us, and he don't even know it.
That took me out of my comfort zone. That took me out of these scriptures for me.
You don't approach a man like that. Like, if I approach you, honestly, that's kind of threatening. If I approach you, that's kind of threatening. We don't know each other, so guess what? We giving each other space.
That's why they extend their hand out to shake your hand. At
Exactly.
least,
That's why,
or to
you
give
know,
a pound.
I'm friendly. You know what I'm saying? So you do that. Or I'm friendly, so you do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't just approach a man like that. We men. Let me know that you ain't threatening me. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know,
Then we can talk.
yeah, then we can talk. Or you can come up and ask your questions, and we can talk that way. You know?
It keeps everything in order, and it keeps
Right.
you know things.
Right. Let everything be done decently.
Oh,
and
that
in
guy
order.
came up here with an attitude.
Yeah,
he
didn't
right
come in
away
order.
was up with an attitude.
Right.
You got a
He didn't
demon
come in
on.
I
order.
mean, he has a right.
He might have a demon, I don't know. I mean,
Right.
if you can see it, I couldn't see it. He's
Yeah.
just
Right.
like some
Spirit.
sort of crazy guy to
Yeah,
me.
we already knew that because he couldn't even stand the order. While when we said we was answering your questions, then we're going to deal with him. Have patience. Now, we're going to get back into the subject, which was we were disproving those people over there not to be the Jews, and these people to be the Jews.
I got one more scripture.
What you know about
Isaiah 3 and 9. The show of their countenance doth witness against them.
Right, and you know why we said he's gay? Because his countenance, the way his mannerism was, he talked like a fag and he acted like a fag.
His
Flat out.
eyes look like he's a catcher.
Right.
It's okay with me as long as he doesn't touch me.
Yeah, but it ain't okay with the Most High because the Most High
Yeah, well, I ain't the most high.
Do something like that.
And
Put
they
your
declare
hand
their
on
sin
the
in Sodom, they hide it not.
Right. This is the new Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, they don't hide that they gays over here. You know, it's
not
a
right.
welcome thing
You
over
got
here.
right
There's
for it.
laws against beating up a fag or killing a fag, even though the Lord said it's okay.
Woe
I
unto
don't
their
think you
soul,
should do
for they have
that.
rewarded evil
Anybody.
unto
The
themselves.
Bible says you should.
Now, yeah, the Lord say you should, but let's get back to that. We're gonna get back on subject about disproving those fake Jews. Yeah, with Jeremiah. I'm gonna have to get Revelation to get you Jeremiah.
13 tribes, that book, it goes into that.
I know.
Right. Okay, you holding Revelations? All right, 2 and 9. Yeah, hold it.
Most counted, but I think he's on to something.
Yeah, 2 and
What's
9.
that?
Yep. Go
Arthur
ahead.
Kessler, 13th tribe.
Right, 13 trial Arthur Koestler. Yep, and we was going to get that book, but we do got an excerpt from that book. I don't think we got it with us right now, but there's an excerpt from that book that tells where the Ottoman Turks, those are Ottoman Turks, the Khazarian Empire, where they come from. Go ahead, read that.
This is Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee.
Now, every nation on this planet, their history go back thousands of years. These peoples can only remember their heritage going back for maybe a couple hundred years. Basically, slavery. That's basically where every nation, all the people on this side can remember, you know, where their heritage goes back. That's a prophecy right there, because all through the Bible, the children of Israel knew who they were through every different captivity. So these two prophecies have come true through history. The Israelites went through slavery by ships. You know, in history, some people went through slavery by ships, and there's only one. Then, in history, read that again.
And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Slavery in a land which you don't know.
For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
Now, how did we kindle a fire in the Lord's anger? Because we didn't do his law, statutes, and commandments. We were following other gods. In Exodus 20, probably.
Deuteronomy 20. Well,
Exodus 20, it says, don't bow thyself to other idols, because the Lord is a jealous God. So we did that. So we kindled the fire in the Lord's anger. Now, like I said, every nation can count their history back thousands of years, except for these people. But that was a prophecy. Now, read that in Revelation.
This is Revelation 2 and 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
Now that's the one. This is a red letter Bible. You turn that around to the camera out. These are the words of Christ in red letters. Now he said, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Rich in faith, rich in spirit. But he said, you know thy works, tribulation, trouble, and poverty. So the The real Jews are poor. They having trouble. But thou art rich, rich in faith. Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy of them.
Blasphemy is a lie. That's what blasphemy is.
A lie against God.
Exactly.
Slander against God.
There you go.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not.
No, the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not. Now, if the Jews are the so-called Negroes in America, they're not calling themselves Jews, right? But there are people on this planet calling themselves Jews, right? Read that again,
And I know the blasphemies of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan.
Now, synagogue is chief house. So, the chief house of Satan. The word Satan, Tazarah, adversary or adversary to the Most High, adversary to God. So, the chief house of Satan. Right. So, the Lord is saying, the one you call Jesus Christ is saying that the ones calling themselves Jews are the chief house of Satan. So, that's it. They the chief house of Satan that's calling themselves Jews. Because the Negroes in America, matter of fact, bro, you a so-called black man, right? Have you ever called yourself a Jew? Do you know that you really are a Jew? So guess what? He ain't calling himself a Jew. He calling himself either black or African American or one of the proverbs that they put on our people. Because our people don't know that we are the Jews. Why? Because the Lord had a prophecy that said we was going to discontinue from our heritage. We was going to forget who we were. How did we forget? Through slavery. You heard of a book called The Willie Lynch Letters? Want to read out of it?
We got 54 seconds now.
But during slavery, all right, it's good. During slavery, the so-called white man made us to discontinue from our heritage. One, we couldn't read the Bible. We couldn't speak our language. We couldn't read the Bible because the Bible contained references to our heritage. Our language, if a person knows his language, is going to go back to his heritage. The Lord said he was going to make us discontinue from that. There's only one people that ever happened to, which were the people on this side.
Children of Israel.
Ones that happened to. Not to mention, the ones calling themselves Jews are not the real Jews. Get 2nd Ezra 13 and 40 in the Apocrypha. And then, of course, I showed you the